started. So Ron, if you'd like to call the meeting to order.
Okay, attention everybody. I'm call to order the Regional Flood Control District Citizens Advisory Committee meeting of April 4th, 2022. Seeing this is a virtual meeting, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Steve Parrish.
Thank you, Mr. Newell, and we'll start by calling roll real quick. So when you hear your name, if you could just announce that you're present, I'd appreciate it. Make sure you're off of mute. And I'll note for the record that Chair Ron Newell is present. Vice Chair Bill Starmer.
I think I'm present.
Jessica Preston. Larry Carr.
Here.
You. Bertha Gutierrez.
Right here.
You. Marshall Desai.
Present.
Jim Giordano.
Present.
Brian Wilson.
Here.
Norm Ashford. And Karina Berrigan.
Present.
Thank you. I show 8 members present. We do have a quorum. I'll remind the members, if you do have to drop off of the meeting for some reason, just please interrupt me or whoever's talking and let us know so that we can keep an accurate track of the votes. We'd appreciate that. And we'll start with item number 1, which is comments by the general public. This is the first time set aside for comments by the general public for items on this agenda. Is there anyone on the call that's wishing to address the committee this afternoon? Thank you. Moving on, hearing no one, we'll move on to item 2. Next slide, thanks. Is action to approve the agenda with the deletion of any items. Mr. Chair, the agenda is in order for approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Action to approve. Motion to approve item number 2.
Okay, I think we got a motion to approve from Herschel. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is action to approve the minutes of the February 28th, 2022 meeting. Mr. Chair, the minutes are in order for approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, moved to approve the minutes of the last meeting, February 28th.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starmer. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 4 is action to accept the financial reports. Mr. Chair, the financial reports in your backup. I'll turn your attention. You can go ahead and thanks, Tammy. We did get sales tax numbers for the month of March, which for the month of January, which is not reflected in your backup. I don't believe, unless it got added in. We budgeted $8.7 million. We actually received about $10.7 million, which is just over $2 million above what we budgeted, or about 24%. For the year, we've collected $82 million. Go ahead and click again, Tammy. For the year, we've collected $82 million, which is about $16.8 million above the estimate, or about 26%. So we're well ahead of where we had estimated we would be at this point in the fiscal year. We're continuing to see really high numbers coming in on sales tax. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Tammy. This is the rolling 12-month sales tax chart. So again, all the blue bars on this graph represent the sum of the previous 12 months. You can see a steady climb from February 2021 till present, which is good, good news. And because this is a rolling 12-month sales tax chart, you know, we're adding the prior 12 months of sales tax. As we move through February's numbers of February 2022, that's kind of the last month in 2021 that was where numbers were kind of low. Starting in March of 2021, we started seeing all these high increases in sales tax. So we're really expecting not necessarily next month, but the following month to see a pretty big jump in this chart because we'll be adding all of these high numbers we've been receiving since you know, dating back to March of 2021. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months. With that, staff would recommend you accept the financial report, and I'll ask if there's any questions or discussion.
This is Larry Carr with Boulder City, and I see that we have 3 projects, 2 in Pago and 1 is a bond issue in the report. So in item 4, we've got things going on. Then there's item 8, which I believe is a status report. And then item 11 is we're asking for an extension on the Hemenway B. So I guess I was just trying to get some understanding on the project layout. I guess in this report, I don't see where the money was expended and what time frame the money was spent, and I don't see in the status report where it was spent. It might not be that much of a deal, so maybe nothing happened as far as money was spent. But should I ask that in 4, or should I ask that in 8 to when this was done?
Well, if you're looking for when money was spent, then that would be in this report, the financial report, right? So the information in the back where you see pay-as-you-go and bonded funded, that's just total funding allocations for that contract, and then the amount spent to date and the amount remaining through you know, through March. So you can see in terms of actual money spent, that's in the breakdown under under the monthly expenditures for the capital improvement program for February. I think I said through March, but this is through February. So you can flow through that and find projects in Boulder City. It doesn't look like, I don't really see any, so I don't think any money was actually spent in the month of February for Boulder City. That makes sense?
Okay, I'm looking at page 21, and that's where it says that overall. So that has the overall amount spent, I believe, and then what's remaining, and then we have page. So that's part of the, I think, part of the Pago, and then you have, or maybe, yeah, I'm just making sure I'm understanding. Then you got the one related to the bond, and then on in 8 we talk about some information. Again, it's not a big deal. I'm just trying to make sure I understand properly. I guess it is a little confusing because we have the design work for Hemenway 2, and then 2B is the construction is complete. So I guess I'm a little confused on what's going on there. So maybe I just need additional data some other time.
Okay. Yeah, so the information you see on page 21 is, as you said, pay-as-you-go funded projects, and that is dollars spent to date for different interlocals in Boulder City, right? So the first one there is the Hemenway Phase 2 improvements, and that's design. So it's showing $783,632 for the interlocal for design, and then it shows money spent on that contract and how much is remaining. I think this might be a little confusing because the design work was done, the same interlocal was used for design for the phases, for the different phases. So we didn't open a new design for the next phase. So there's one design contract, but there's multiple construction contracts because it was built in phases. And so when we get to item 8, we'll talk about the project status reports and how those are laid out. Maybe we can get your question answered better there. But all you're going to find in the financials is money spent to date through February for each contract, how much that contract's worth, how much was spent, and how much is remaining. And then there's a breakdown of individual monthly expenditures for capital improvement program right before that for each entity that requested funding.
Okay, yeah, when I just went through it and then I was trying to make sense of the different agenda items, I was just trying to make sure. So I thought it was sort of laid out differently. I think when we get to 8, there's a percentage that was confusing because I think it said that the design was 99% done. But yeah, so I just making sure I understood how it looked like the design was still needed to be completed, and I didn't understand how construction was started without the design being completed. I think that's what confused me the most.
Okay, so when we get to the projects section, we can talk about that on item 8.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't catch this in earlier meeting concept, so I appreciate your time.
It's all good, no problem. Any other questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell, approve item number 4, accept the financial reports.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor from Ron Newell to accept the financial reports. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Next slide, please. Item 5 is action to adopt the amendments to the 10-year construction program. Mr. Chair, this is your amendments for fiscal impacts that occur later in the agenda. There's also a separate item in here from the city of North Las Vegas that's making specific changes to their 10-year program. They're moving some facilities around on the plan. Staff recommends approval of item 5. Any discussion, questions? Entertain a motion.
Berta Gutierrez with Clark County, move to approve item number 5.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Berta Gutierrez. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Item 6 is next slide, please. Thanks. Item 6 is action to accept the First Amendment to the final accounting report and project closeout for Centennial Parkway Channel West, US95 Crossing. Mr. Chair, this is an amendment to a final accounting report to account for there was some overbilling on this project that was caught in the closeout process, and so some money is being returned, and the final accounting report is being amended accordingly. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
This is Todd. Todd Myers for the record, Regional Flood Control District. If the 80% is confusing you, I believe there's still some more design left to do just to finish up a couple of random areas up there on that Hemenway system. So that's why that's showing as 80% and not 100%.
Okay, yeah, I guess, like I said, I should have caught this earlier, and when I reviewed because it's been in here for some time, I'm sure, but it was just confusing that the design wasn't complete. And then did you say that phase 2A is complete or mostly complete?
Yeah, phase 2 is pretty much done, and actually the next phase is almost done as well. There was a couple of issues with some utilities on both of those projects. That's kind of, we're treating this a little differently than we normally would. We're going to kind of come back and deal with design of fixing those utility issues for both phases, really. So that, as Todd mentioned, that's the extra work in design that we need to get wrapped up. So it's kind of a little different than we normally would see.
Yeah, and I'm just being picky, I guess, because I can't flow through to see when the money was spent. So in 4 we show the money was spent. But I think that shows that I guess so. Now we go to page 1 on the bond issue in this 8. Maybe I'm jumping, but it has percentages. So the design is 80% done. Hemenway number A is 99% done, and then it says 138% done for Hemenway number 2B, but it looks like we're under budget, so I don't understand how we're 138% over.
Yeah, I think
And I
that's
guess
because
with time,
you're probably looking at that summary. I think the summary that's sent out to the CAC, is that right?
let's see, it's page one of, I can't find a page number. It's towards the very end of the, no, it's not. Yeah, it's pretty close to the end of item 8's packet. And so, I don't want to take a lot of people's time up. I was just trying to follow things through, and through the different reports, I couldn't quite understand how everything matched up. I think everything's kosher. The city engineer seems to be okay with everything. I was just trying to follow it and seeing what I was missing was all. You've got the write-ups that explain things on the first part of section 8, so that's good. It just, the order was a little confusing to me, and then making sure what status, when money was paid when. So I was just trying to understand better.
Okay, I think the 138% time used is, that's a calculation that's done based on the contract time with the contractor, and if they've gone over that, then they're essentially late on the contract. But there could be some sort of change order or something still pending that would give them additional days if there was an issue on this project that wasn't their fault. And so sometimes we see a percentage that's high on there, even though the project may or may not be delayed. So, but I think what maybe we ought to do is circle back, just you and me and maybe Todd, and go through all of this so that you understand, that you're clear on everything, and make sure that, and it's not to say there might not be an error here or there in the report too. So we'll have to check that out as well.
I think you're okay. It's just a matter of, I think there's a lot of columns, and I'm just sort of missing where it's easy to track, and it's mostly my misunderstanding. And I think because that's the Hemenway B2 is the 11, I believe it's item 11 to be extended. So that's probably partly going on.
Okay, and we can talk about that on item 11 as well.
Right. So, okay. Thank you for your time. Apologize for taking up time.
That's okay. So this is just to receive a report. There's no action required on this item. However, anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to try to answer those. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 9. Next slide, please. Item 9 is discussion and possible action to approve the prioritization of projects, 10-year construction program, and fiscal year 2022-2023 project list. So we're in the beginning stages of updating the 10-year construction program. We update that program every year, and it will go to the board for adoption in June. But typically we put an item on both the TAC and CAC agendas just to alert you to the fact that we're starting that process. This is more geared towards the TAC, who has received a draft plan, and they have to fill that plan out with their prioritized projects for each of the 10 years. Within the plan, and then submit that back into us for review, and then we'll compile everything and put it together for an item to the board. In that cycle, the May-June cycle, you'll be getting a presentation from us with the results of that effort, and you'll be able to understand what's going to be presented to the board. So there's really no action required on this item unless you have any questions or want to discuss anything. I'm happy to do that. This is really just a heads up to you guys that this process is underway. Any questions or comments?
This is Larry Carr, Boulder City again. Again, it's just a question, and is that I guess I see that you have $100 million in bonds for, is that each year? So there's $3 million total for this 10-year plan. Is that what I understand?
No, we've programmed $100 million in bonding every third year, starting with the second year. So there's a $100 million bond proposed in year 2, and then there's one in year 5 and one in year 8.
Okay, but who pays for the bonds, out of curiosity?
Well, we pay for the bonds if we do issue a bond, and we'll be paying the debt service on that through our organization. you know, this is just a programming effort. Keep in mind, it's not set in stone that we would issue $100 million in bonding in the second year. It's going to depend on if we have projects that are ready to go, and you know, what the economy is looking like. If it makes good economic sense to do a bond, then we'll do it. But if it's not needed, or if interest rates are really high, we may postpone it. So it's really just for programming purposes.
Well, the bottom line is, if I understand correctly, and that was the reason I asked the question, because I'm trying to understand, I should say, is that everything is paid for out of the flood control funds, and so you're not going to the bonds aren't paid through taxes or anything like that. It's already the funds that you have collected or will futurely collect.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand. So, for instance, Boulder City is not. I haven't seen anywhere where those bonds would have been part of our taxes, and I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it'll all be paid out of the 1/4% sales tax that we already receive.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's just helpful to understand it. I appreciate it.
No problem. Any other questions, comments? Okay, move on to item 10. Next slide, please. Just action to approve the request to reallocate funding within the interlocal contract for design for the Las Vegas Watch Branch 2, Monson Channel, Jimmy Durante to Boulder Highway-Clark County. Mr. Chair, this is a reallocation of funding. There's no fiscal impact to the district. The county is requesting to move $34,000 from the design light item to the environmental light item. This money is needed to pay for some environmental studies that are going to be required for this project. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion or questions? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, move to approve item number 10.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starmer. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Slide, please. Item 11 is action to approve the third supplemental interlocal contract for construction to reallocate funding and extend the project completion date for Hemenway System Phase 2B improvements, City of Boulder City. Mr. Chair, this is a reallocation of funding. Again, there's no fiscal impact to the flood control district. The city's requesting to move $100,000 from the construction line item to the construction management line item and extend the contract date. So just by way of explanation on this one, again, as we were talking earlier, there was some issues with the water line on this project. It was discovered in a location that we weren't expecting. And so that delayed the contractor, and that work actually was removed from the contractor's scope of work. However, construction management continued on, so they had additional bills that needed to be paid through the construction management side of the house. And so we're going to come back. I think Boulder City's planning on using that design interlocal to prepare a design to resolve this issue. But until that happens.
Sorry to interrupt you, Steve. Brian Wilson, I have to drop out this time.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So with that, staff recommends approval. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for entertain a motion.
This is Larry Carr, Boulder City. I move to approve item number 11.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Larry Carr. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Slide, please. Item 12, all right, bear with me, is action to approve the supplemental interlocal contracts for construction and design to extend the project completion date for the following projects. Item 12A is second supplemental Gowan Alexander Road, Rancho Drive to Decatur Boulevard, City of Las Vegas. Item 12B is second supplemental Brent Drainage System, Durango Drive to O'Hare Avenue, City of Las Vegas. Item 12C is fifth supplemental Centennial Parkway Channel West, US95, CC 215 to Grand Teton, and US95 Crossing at Kyle Canyon Road, City of Las Vegas. 12D is third supplemental State Route 163 at Casino Drive, Clark County. Item 12E is third supplemental Hollywood System Centennial Parkway to Speedway number 2 Detention Basin, City of North Las Vegas. Item 12F is second supplemental Gowan Outfall Alexander Road, Decatur Boulevard to Simmons Street, City of North Las Vegas. Item 12G, second supplemental Vandenberg North Detention Basin Collection and Outfall Phase 2, City of North Las Vegas. Item 12H is the eighth supplemental Vandenberg North Detention Basin and Outfall, City of North Las Vegas. And item 12I is the second supplemental Range Wash and Branch Phase 1, City of North Las Vegas. Mr. Chair, all of these projects are either design or construction. They're in various stages of completion. These extensions of time are for our interlocal contracts with each of these entities to fund these different projects. Generally, we see a lot of extensions of time around this time of year because a lot of contracts are opened after the beginning of the fiscal year in July, and so their contracts are coming up. We can go through the various stages of these contracts if you wish, but for the most part, we're just extending these to either get projects closed out or get designs completed. But I'm happy to answer any individual questions if you have any. And with that, I'll call for any discussion or questions. Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell, approve item number 12A through I.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval for items 12A through I. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Next slide, please. Item 13 is Silverado Ranch Detention Basin Collection in Outfall, Clark County. Item 12A is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for construction to decrease funding. Item 13B is to receive a report on the award of bid for construction. Mr. Chair, item 13A is a supplement to reduce funding on this interlocal contract by $6.5 million. This is a result of favorable bids on this project. Item 13B is a report on the award of bid on March 30, 2021. 5 bids were received on this project. The recommended best bid is to William Charles Inc. in the amount of $19,384,238, which is 7.78% below the engineer's estimate that was presented to board. Staff recommends approval of item 13A. There's no action required on item 13B, as it's just to receive a report. Any questions or discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, move to approve item number 13B.
13A.
13A, sorry.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval, item 13A by Mr. Starmer. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Next slide, please. Item 14 is Meadows, Charleston Storm Drain, Essex to Lindell, City of Las Vegas. Item 14A is action to accept the project presentation. We do have Nelson Baggs on the line to present this project. So Nelson, when you're ready, you can take yourself off mute. You can begin your presentation.
Hello, everyone. This is Nelson Baggs with GCW, and I'll be presenting on the Meadow Charleston Storm Drain Essex Drive to Lindell Road project. Next slide, please. As for the project location, next slide, please. The project is located in the city of Las Vegas within Charleston Boulevard. It's just west of the central point of the valley. If you're not familiar with the smaller cross streets, it begins east of Jones Boulevard, extends through Decatur, and ends just west of Valley View. Next slide, please. This project will construct regional facilities MECN0000 and MECN0061. This consists of approximately 0.9 miles of storm drain. The sizes of the storm drain are 8x6 reinforced concrete box, 8x7 reinforced concrete box, and a 9x8 reinforced concrete box. And it will ultimately tie into the existing downstream 18x8 reinforced concrete box. Next slide, please. These are typical sections for the different segments of the project that show the different storm drain sizes, as well as the different amounts of cover and the placement of the box within the right-of-way. Next slide, please. I'll quickly go through the project costs. For the design, $713,308. For the entity design labor, $100,000. For the environmental, $2,000. For the right-of-way, $2,000. For construction, $15,078,000. For construction management, $860,000. For entity construction management labor, $100,000. For City of Las Vegas sewer, $594,174. For Regional Transportation Commission, $416,605. For the Nevada Department of Transportation, $41,522. For a total of $17,907,609. Next slide, please. As for the project status, all 90% design documents have been completed. All permits, including local, state, federal, and environmental, have been obtained, and all the right-of-way has been obtained. Next slide, please. The award of bid date is set for August of this year, with a construction start date for November of this year, and the project duration will be approximately 15 months. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Any questions for Elson? Thank you, Nelson. With that, staff would recommend you accept the project presentation. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Berta Gutierrez, Clark County. Oh, you can go ahead.
Go ahead,
Karina
Berta.
Barragan, City of North Las Vegas. Motion to approve.
Okay. There's a motion for approval from Karina Barragan, the City of North Las Vegas for item 14A. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. Next slide, please. Item
Hey,
14.
this is Harshal Desai, City of Henderson. I'll have drop at 3:40. I have another meeting that conflict, so I'll be dropping soon.
Okay, so you're leaving the meeting now, Herschel?
Yeah, I'll be, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Item 14B is action to approve the interlocal contract for construction. This is an interlocal contract with a total value of $16,038,000 for construction management, and construction management entity labor. We do have sufficient funds for this project. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Berta Gutierrez, Clark County. Move to approve item 14B.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bertha Gutierrez. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Item 15 is action to approve an interlocal contract for design for the North Las Vegas Detention Basin upgrade, City of North Las Vegas. This is a new design interlocal that's requested by the City of North Las Vegas. Total contract cost is $1,640,000. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Ron Newell, move approval for item 15.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Mr. Ron Newell. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Next slide, please. Item 16 is action to approve the first supplemental interlocal contract for design to increase funding for the Las Vegas Wash Cartier Channel, City of North Las Vegas. Mr. Chair, this is a supplement to the existing interlocal with a fiscal impact of $787,004. This money is needed to investigate different alternatives for the downstream portion of this project. It ties into Las Vegas Wash, and we're having a lot of difficulty figuring out a good way to get that water into the Las Vegas Wash. So we're asking the consultant to look at multiple alternatives on this project to try to come up with the best solution. Staff recommends approval. Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas, move to approve item number 16.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor for approval from Bill Starmer. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. And that motion carries unanimously. Slide, please. Thank you. Item 17 is to discuss the Citizens Advisory Committee tour of district facilities and take action as deemed appropriate. Mr. Chair, at the last meeting, we brought up, we had an item to discuss a potential Citizens Advisory Committee tour. We were directed to take a look at Thursdays. We did settle on a date, which is April 21st, 2022. We will congregate at in the front of our building here at 600 South Grand Central Parkway around 8 o'clock. I think the bus will leave at 8:30. We've developed a route, and we're going to visit several projects in North Las Vegas and then kind of do some drive-bys of other projects on our way out to some stuff out in Henderson. And we will be providing lunch and a kind of a continental breakfast, you with some coffee in the morning, wake everybody up. So should be a good tour. I hope everyone can attend. You're welcome to bring spouses or anyone you want to bring with you is fine. And so I think it'll be a good tour. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we do need an action item on this. Staff would recommend that we set the tour date on April 21st, 2022. And so I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
I move to approve. I'm excited about the tour.
Woohoo!
Berta Gutierrez, Clark County.
That's what we want to see is excitement. There's a motion for approval from Bertha Gutierrez. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. That motion carries unanimously. I'll note also that will be a public meeting. So we'll have to open the public meeting on the bus and do some approval of different items, and then we'll just go into the tour itself. And we'll also have a chase car that's separate from the bus that staff's going to be driving. So if anyone needs to leave the bus for some reason in the middle of the tour, we can accommodate that and get you back here to the district office if necessary. But you'll want to stay to the end because it's pretty good. Next slide, please.
Steve, before you go to the comments for the general public, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I don't know, this is Bill Starmer, City of Las Vegas. I don't know who in your office has the privilege of putting together this packet of information, but I don't think that they ever get recognized, and I would like to simply recognize the effort that it takes to put this kind of a packet together and keep it all in proper order, beyond my ability.
And beyond my ability as well, I've got an amazing staff. It's a team effort. Deanna Hughes and Tammy and Jessica and multiple people are play a role in getting the agenda put together and issued every month. And it's not just CAC, but TAC and board as well. They do them all, and so couldn't do it without them. And they do a great job. I appreciate you recognizing that because it's not easy.
I don't know what you do at the department to recognize good work, but there's a bunch of folks that deserve recognition.
Well, I'm certain that they're happy to hear you say that. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yes, sir.
This is Larry Carr with Boulder City. I agree with that. It's a good package.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 18. Thank you, Tammy. Item 18 is comments by the general public. Is there anyone on the call wishing to address the committee on any item related to the Regional Flood Control District? I will say that with case numbers dropping, we're thinking about going back to in-person meetings again. I know that this committee voted in the past to that they prefer in-person meetings versus virtual meetings. And so we're willing to go back to in-person meetings. I think just to give you a little buffer that we won't do it the next meeting, but maybe the following meeting, which is May 26th. Note that that's normally would have been on May 30, but that's Memorial Day. So the committee voted to move that meeting date to May 26th, which is a Thursday. So if there's no objection, I think we'll move to direct staff to do that at the May meeting.
I support that idea.
Thank you. There's a number of people I've only seen on this screen, so I would really like to meet you in person.
You might be sorry.
Any other?
He's met us, Ron.
Okay. Yeah, he knows us. Norm too. Norm's not here, but the three of us.
Any other comments or anyone on the call wishing to address the committee? That concludes our agenda. Ron, if you want to close out the meeting.
Okay, well, looking forward to seeing everybody that's coming to the tour on the 21st, and I'm going to close the meeting at 3:49 according to my Apple phone here. So, thank you all for joining us, and see you next time. Or see you on Thursday. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good